Today we're talking knitting cozies. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, I'm Ashley and this is Cozy Mystery Tea Time. Thanks for joining me. How was your Halloween? I hope it was so much fun. We get so many trick-or-treaters, it's unreal, and I love it every year. I buy as much candy as I can, and I love just handing it out and making all the kids happy. I look like a nut job when I'm at the grocery store, though, because I have literally a cart filled with Halloween candy. It's kind of nuts, but I'm telling you, it's gone by the end of the night. It's so funny. Anyway, so I hope you had a great one. Today, we're going to be talking about cozy mysteries with a knitting theme. But first, I wanted to talk about two things. One, I want to talk about what I just finished reading and what I'm going to be reading next. I just finished reading Caught Dead-Handed. It's in the Witch City Mysteries by Carol J. Perry, and I give it a big thumbs up. I loved it. Go check it out. What I'm reading next is called Snow White Red-Handed, and it's by, I think you pronounce this Maya. I'm not sure how to pronounce this author's first name. Chance is her last name. And it's a fairy tale themed mystery, and it's set in the Black Forest in Germany. So I think it's going to be a really fun read. I'm looking forward to it. The second thing that I'd like to do is share the comment of the week. This week's comment comes from Kel Briggan. So if you're watching, hi Kel. Thanks for commenting. I'm going to get my notes out so I get your comment right because I loved it. Okay. Kel commented on my 3 things I do not like in a cozy video. Kel does not like politics in their cozies, token characters, or virtue signaling. And Kel says that there are no safeguards to self-published books. This is a direct quote from Kel. You can tell most of them stink just by reading one paragraph. Thanks for your comment, Kel. I really appreciated that one. Okay, so I'm going to agree and disagree with you today. Play a little devil's advocate. I agree because I recently got hooked by the cutest cozy mystery cover. It was adorable. It had a very fun, unique theme. And it was self-published. And within the first couple of pages, I could tell it was a self-published book. And it was a shame because it had a lot of potential. Like the writing wasn't necessarily bad. It's just, it could have used an editor or just another pair of eyes to look over it and kind of move things around. And it was a shame because I feel like it had a lot of potential, but it was definitely, it felt homemade, which isn't a good thing. And I'm also going to disagree with you because if you've read anything by Elizabeth Craig, you know that self-published books can be amazing. I'm sure you've read something by her. She has the quilting series. She has the barbecue mysteries. She has several series that she does all at the same time. I don't know how she does that. But she actually, I saw her in an interview one time, and she was talking about how she got to become a self-published author. She started out as a traditionally published author first and got several books under her belt. And after a while, she started to feel like she didn't have a lot of control over her writing. And she thought that if she self-published, she would be in control of what she was writing, not like a marketing team or a group of editors or something. So she started to self-publish her books, and I'm telling you, they're all quality. They're incredible. So I'm going to agree, disagree, and again, thank you for your comment, Kel. Okay, let's get into my 3 cozy mysteries with a knitting theme. Again, I've downloaded 3 samples onto my e-reader, and I've read them. Usually, I don't know if you do this or not. I download the sample, and it's usually about a couple of chapters, and it gives me a good idea about whether or not I'm going to enjoy the book or not. So, and it's usually free. So it's a good way to save some money because we've all purchased a book and then gotten 2 chapters in and just realized it wasn't for us. So the samples really helped me. Okay, and I have my notes because I'm awful with names, so I have to write them down. Okay, number 1 is Death by Cashmere, and it's part of the Seaside Knitters Mysteries, and the author is Sally Goldenbaum. Okay, so the protagonist of this book is Izzy. and she owns an adorable little knitting shop by the ocean in a sleepy little fishing village in Massachusetts. And right from the get-go, I'm getting major, cute Cabot Cove vibes. So if that's your thing, you're going to love this setting. And the world building is wonderful. I loved it. Okay, so Izzy owns the shop. It's kind of like a local hub of women in town to come knit and gossip. And right away, you've got some great character banter and some good, juicy conversation going. And it hooked me in right away. Izzy rents the top rooms in her shop to a woman named Angie. And Angie's kind of viewed as the town troublemaker, but the protagonist, Izzy, sees a different side of her and thinks that she's a good person. But Angie tends to clash with everyone in the town. She's kind of a punk rock chick with wild hair and kind of rock and roll antics. The town's sleepy and people don't like people that make a lot of noise. So Angie ends up getting murdered by the end of the sample that I read. And Izzy, is really the only one in town who wants to get to the bottom of what happened to Angie. So my pros for this is excellent world building. When I was reading it, I could just feel the ocean air and the saltiness in the air. The knitting shop was so well laid out for me that I felt like I was there. Cons of this one, I'm going to have to say, it had a lengthy prologue in the beginning of the book, and that made it really hard for me to engage with it right away. It almost made me want to put it down. That's something in books I don't really like. I don't know about you. Sometimes they'll do like this intro prologue that might set up the murder scene, or it might set up something that's going to happen later. And I just feel like I don't know these people, what's going on. I feel very confused. So I don't know, but I'm past that now. So just when you go pick it up, you might realize, wow, this is kind of boring. Push through the prologue because chapter 1 starts off in a really satisfying way. Okay, number 2 is While My Pretty One Knits, and it's a Black Sheep mystery by Anne Canadio. Okay, the Black Sheep is a knitting shop in a small, again, a Massachusetts town. It's so cozy there. New England, I love it. The owner is Maggie, and she's really successful and her business is booming, but she has a rival in town who has a less successful knitting shop that is not booming. And when that rival ends up dead, Maggie is under suspicion. So right away, you have everything that you want out of a knitting cozy mystery, right? And that's really the pro of this book for me. The cute factor. It checks all the boxes. Small town, check. Knitters, check. Fun characters with witty banter, check. What this book doesn't have for me, and the only thing that I see as kind of a con, is it's somewhat slow-paced. There's a lot of backstory being shared by the characters, and sometimes it felt like I just wanted it to kind of pick up a little bit. All right, my third one is Knit 1, Kill 2. It's a knitting mystery by Maggie Sefton. Okay, you have Kelly. Kelly comes back to the small town in Colorado where she was raised by her aunt and uncle. And she's coming back because her aunt has been murdered. And she's the only heir, so she's got to do take care of the will, take care of the estate, meet with the attorneys, and obviously go to the funeral. While she's there, she decides that she's got to figure out who killed her aunt, because her aunt was like her mother. And along the way, she gets to know her aunt's best friends. It's the local knitting group and the people that own the local knitting shop. Okay, here are my thoughts on this book. Pros. It's in the action right away. Unlike the lengthy seaside prologue, immediately, within the first paragraph of the first chapter, someone's been murdered. And by the end of the first chapter, there are already several unsolved mysteries that Kelly did not know about her aunt. And so she's got all of these things swirling around in her head, and so does the reader. Things that need to be found out. So it hooks you right away, and I like that. My only con with this one, there wasn't as much of that cozy factor, and there wasn't as much world building. What I mean by that is, what does the town look like? What does the house that her aunt lived in look like? It's a knitting cozy mystery, but within the sample, the knitting didn't really show up until the very end of the sample. So for me, the theme wasn't as strong, and the cozy factor wasn't as strong. But I will say this. I want to know what happened to Kelly's aunt, because the first little sample made it seem very mysterious and very interesting. So what it doesn't have in cozy, it does make up for in a good story. All right, so which one am I going to pick? I'm going to pick the Seaside Knitters because I want to go spend some more time in that town. It is adorable and cozy, and I would love to just sit there and knit and look at the ocean all day. But I definitely think I'll be picking up the Knit 1, Kill 2 at some point because the story was pretty riveting. All right, what do you think? Are you a knitter? I knit sometimes. I'm not great. I can knit a scarf or a blanket. Squares. I can't knit sleeves. All right. I hope you have a great week. I hope you enjoyed this video. A thumbs up is always appreciated, and I would love to see you next time at Cozy Mystery Tea Time. Bye, guys.